everybody, and welcome to What Do Scientists Do? It's a show where I talk to a different guest each episode, and they teach us all about their favorite science topics and what they do as a scientist. My name is Jessica, and today I'm joined by our very special guest. Could you give us your name and your pronouns, please?
Hi, I'm Basel Al-Sukhon, he, him.
Cool. And Basil, what kind of scientist are you?
I'm a geologist, so I study rocks.
Cool. So, in your day-to-day job as a geologist, what do you do with those rocks and why do you study them?
So I'm studying rocks in the Abitibi Greenstone Belt in northern Ontario right now, and we're essentially trying to figure out if it's worth putting in a mine here for nickel.
Cool. So, what kinds of things would that mine be used for and would the nickel be used for?
So right now there's a battery craze going on. We have electric cars picking up and all sorts of electrification of energy and all that. So the mining industry is now trying to keep up, provide nickel, cobalt, copper, and all of those things that you'll find in batteries and electronics.
Cool. So, nickel, I assume, is one of the things that's really important for electronics and electric cars and all of that kind of stuff. So, what kinds of things do you do every day? What does a day look like for you?
So I work from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. generally. There are different schedules throughout the industry. That's mine. And we go in every day, and our drillers drop off our core overnight and then again in the morning. And throughout the day, we're looking at hundreds of meters of rock. Essentially, that entails taking a hand lens and just looking at every meter of that, saying there is 1%, 2%, 10%, 5% of this mineral and that mineral.
So, a hand lens, is that like a magnifying glass?
Yeah, kind of. It's a little I guess they might call it a loop, little magnifying glass, like the size of your fingertip.
So you just go along these tours of rocks and you get to like look at every single little bit of it and see what's inside it, basically.
Pretty much. So that's
Cool.
the one part of the job is essentially describing the mineralization types in it, and the other is looking at structure throughout the rock. So we're talking about rocks hundreds of meters deep into the ground. And the minerals we're looking for, a lot of them are structurally bound, meaning you're looking for veins and faulting in the rock where rocks broke and moved against each other, and that allowed some sort of mineralization to occur. So a lot of my job is actually looking at what happened in the ground, you know, hundreds of millions to billions of years ago.
Up where you are, because I know that you're in Northern Ontario right now, is that the Canadian Shield? Is that where there's really old rocks?
Yeah, so I'm working in the Abitibi Greenstone Belt right now, and we're working with mantle rocks. So essentially, those are the rocks that originate from like the deepest parts of the earth and are pushed up to the surface.
Cool.
They're about 2 billion years old or so.
That's 2 billion with a B, right?
Right.
So that's half as old as the Earth, a little less than half.
Little less than half, yeah.
Yeah. So those are some really old rocks.
Yeah.
Um, what made you so enthusiastic about rocks? When did you decide I want a job where I get to look at rocks all day?
See, funny enough, I think that a lot of kids start where I did, where you're on the beach and you love looking at the little pebbles, all the different colors in the rocks, and you start a collection. I'm sure every kid has a rock collection at some point in their life, and I just kept growing mine. Although I don't think most people think of geology as like an option when they grow up. I guess it's kind of like when you're a kid, you say things like, I want to be a cowboy, I want to be an astronaut, but never I want to be a geologist, despite these rock collections.
I don't know. I work for Supernova and we run science camps, and we have lots of kids that might say that they want to be geologists. We actually had Earth Sciences camp this summer, which was very fun. Lots of fossils and rock activities, and I think you would have loved it, Basil. Um, so there are some people, but yeah, probably not as popular as like marine biologist might be.
Right.
Or things where it's like bigger things or living things that people are more familiar with than like what you do.
Yeah. Well, I guess one of the big things is rocks. They're old, they don't change. You know, whales are cool. You see them every day.
Well,
You're like, wow,
well,
that's a whale.
well, the whales move a lot faster than rocks do. But I
Mhm.
mean, rocks do change, right?
Oh
They
yeah,
just change very, very slowly
you'll
over a
never
really
see a
long
rock
span of
change for
time.
sure.
What is your favorite science thing that you've ever done?
I guess I wouldn't necessarily call it a science thing, but my favorite thing that I have done on this job was essentially I went out and mapped an area that we want to put down new drills in, and that meant for about 10 hours I walked out in the rain with a GPS map and looked at all the nature around us. We saw a beaver dam, lots of felled trees from beavers. We saw lots of animal tracks, some foxes. You know, it was a really good day in the rain, just hiking.
It was
Sorry.
still hiking in the rain though, so your favorite day was hiking in the rain.
Yeah, yeah, honestly. And I think all of my colleagues will tell you, like, a lot of field work, you just kind of, you're in the rain, you're in the snow, you just kind of deal with it. And it's fun. If you have the right attitude for it, it's very fun.
Yeah, yes, you get to spend lots of time in nature. You get to just look at what's around you, and you're at work, but you're also going for a hike at the same time.
Exactly.
Oh, I haven't asked you the most important question yet. Do you have a favorite rock?
So honestly, the rock I'm working with now is super cool. Like I said, it's about 2 billion years old, very old rocks. It's like a very bright green, which I think is cool. Like, see, you don't think about this, but most of our mantle is green rocks. The earth inside is green. It's not gray, it's not
Why?
black. It's has to do with the mineral assemblages in the rocks that are stable at those temperatures and pressures so deep in the earth. It's mostly olivine. So a lot of mantle rock, it's called dunite. It's over 90% olivine, and olivine is this really nice, clear olive green. Yeah. So if you look at photos of dunite, that's what I deal with. That's the rock we want to see,
Okay, and
basically.
does dunite mean that there's lots of nickel? Is that why you like to see it?
That's where our nickel tends to concentrate itself, based on basically the alteration in the rock because of the heat and the temperature and the fluids that go through that rock change it into something called serpentine, and that liberates the nickel into the rock. And that
Well,
only really happens in high concentrations of olivine.
I've never heard of serpentine before. These are some very cool mineral names. So we've got olivine, which I have heard before because I took one earth sciences class in my life, and it's the mineral that I remember because it is green like an olive.
Right.
But I haven't heard of serpentine like the snake. So that those are some very cool mineral names.
So you probably actually have heard of serpentine, by the way. It's asbestos.
Oh, okay.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, for anybody listening, asbestos was something that a mineral that they used to put in really old buildings, that they figured out was really harmful to you. So if there's like they don't build things with asbestos anymore, but if you've heard that word, that's probably why, because it was really big in the news for a really long time, and it's dangerous if they find old buildings with it and they disturb it. So, do you have any advice for kids who really like rocks and maybe want to become a geologist or an earth scientist?
Honestly, my advice would be to pick it and stick with it. It's not always going to be the most glamorous job. Like I said, I spent 10 hours in the rain today. All my colleagues have stories like that, and they're way worse. One of them was hunted by wolves once. My project manager, he got caught in a freak blizzard, doing field work, and they just had to keep working. It's not always glamorous, but it's extremely rewarding if you stick through it.
Because you get to look at really, really cool rocks in the end.
You get really cool
Basically.
rocks. If you're someone who really enjoys the outdoors, I spend a lot of time outdoors. I get to meet a lot of really cool people from all across Canada, all across the world, and I think that reward on its own, any bad day in the field, good day in the field, makes up for it.
And you get to travel for your job too, right? Like you don't live in Timmins where you are.
No, exactly. I know people who've worked in Colombia. I know some people work in Southeast Asia and Indonesia. You can go work in Australia. There's lots of opportunity for travel, which is very
Cool.
nice.
Yeah, and I know that this might have just been for a course, but you've been to Iceland as well, right?
Right. Yeah. I studied glaciers in Iceland, which was maybe one of the most fun courses I took. Earth Sciences, baby. Always fun.
For sciences, for school, go to Iceland, look at glaciers, what are glaciers?
So glaciers are really big sheets of ice that act almost like a fluid, a river, a really slow river, but a river nonetheless.
Yeah. And so why are glaciers interesting for geologists?
Honestly, glaciers can be very interesting for anyone interested in the Earth. They actually form a lot of our landscape. They're these huge, heavy, dense pieces of ice, and you don't think that they do, but they carve up the Earth. A lot of Ontario's northern lakes are actually glacier formed. There's a lot of landforms in, I believe, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, that are actually glacier formed. You really don't think about it, but they have a huge impact on just the landscape, on the rocks around you.
Yeah, glaciers are super cool, and I just wanted to mention them because, like, even in Nova Scotia, you can see, like, if you go to Peggy's Cove, you can see where glaciers have just left big rocks in places,
Yeah,
which nothing else would be able to move them except those.
exactly. So those are called erratics, which I think is some of the coolest stuff that you can see. I mean, these rocks often are moved like hundreds of kilometers.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Basil.
No problem, my pleasure.
Thank you again, Basil, and as always, a big, big thank you to everybody listening. For more science fun, you can check us out on social media at ScientistStewPod, or check out our website at bit.ly/whatdoscientists do. Do you have a question that you'd like answered by an expert? Send us an email or a voice recording on social media or at whatdoscientists@superstaff.ca. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next episode. Bye for now. This show is made by Supernova at Dalhousie University, a network member of Actua. For more information on our summer camps, workshops, and more, visit supernova.dal.ca.